100%. I think that Latin America has an amazing position in a lot of ways to take advantage of remote work, whether that be as a virtual assistant or something specific.
Bienvenidos a otro video de LOL Academy con su anfitriona Gabriela Soeles. Este día les traigo una entrevista súper interesante en donde hablaremos cómo podemos potencializar mejor nuestro tiempo. Son tips que les daremos para poder optimizar mejor nuestro rendimiento, ser más productivos y todos estamos trabajando desde casa de manera remota o si estamos estudiando de manera virtual también, online, en línea, como ustedes vean. Entonces, esta entrevista es con Rhys Black. Él es escocés/inglés. Él es un experto en el área, así que dejaré que él se presente. Y sin más ni menos, comencemos.
So tell us about you. Like, what is your profile? What do you do? Everything.
Yeah. So, as I've been talking, I've been saying my clients. I run a company called Delocate. We are a consultancy that works with companies around the world to help them operate as remote companies as best as possible. So as some of the things I've been talking about, there's many different areas that you have to cover all of it to kind of fit all of the puzzle together to make it work properly. So that's my business. I mentioned we're a remote company ourselves. We have employees across Europe and India, and then also Vietnam. And my background is within the tech industry. So I've been working as a product manager for most of my career and managing remote teams all during that process as well when I was an employee. A few years ago, I then started my own company, which was called Trade Nations. We worked with governments, specifically the trade promotion agencies within governments, to help them increase their exports from their country internationally. So that company was also fully remote. I started Delocate. Delocate, in some ways, it was actually born out of Trade Nations. So that's what I do full time now.
Awesome. Thank you, Rhys. It's a really awesome profile, though. Well, Rhys, the first question will be, since you are an expert, of course, helping virtual groups or virtual teams as well, and you know exactly how to take the best out of it, which tips can you provide the either students or workers so they can be productive with the virtual area?
Big question. Okay, so I think probably one of the first things I would say when people start working remotely for the first time, they realize that self-organization and self-discipline is a very difficult thing to master. It doesn't sound difficult, but when you realize that you have really no schedule, no routine in your day, and that it is completely up to you to establish that, then it can be quite tricky. So I think one of the most important things to do is to keep a schedule, right? If you're used to working 9 to 5 in an office and you leave your house at 8 a.m. to go to the office and then you come back and you arrive back maybe 6 p.m., when that disappears, that can be quite tough. So you need to build that routine again in your life and make sure that you stick to it. So making sure that you don't end up sleeping later than you normally would, things like that, making sure that you stick to the same timings. Also making sure that the end of your day has a defined end to it. Especially if you're working from home and you're maybe just in an apartment or something like that. Maybe you don't have a separate bedroom that is an office. That you're just working from your living room or something like that. Making sure that you have a clear end to your day makes a massive difference. Probably it's more difficult to stop working than it is to start working for most people. So usually what I tell people to do is whoever you're working with, the company you're working with or the clients that you're working with, at the end of the day and also the beginning of the day, say good morning and say good evening, say good night, I'm leaving, I'm finishing up for the day. that does multiple things. One, it tells your client or your employer that, okay, they're not available for any more communication, especially when time zones are different, right? Because it might be 6 p.m. for you, but it might only be, 12 a.m. Or 12 p.m. for them. So that's the first thing. But then the other thing as well is that it helps you have a mental end to your day. So okay, I've said this, now this is personal time. And then another thing that can be really useful when you do that too is to schedule something at the end of your day that makes you get out of the house. Maybe you schedule something to go meet a friend, or to go see some family, or to go to the gym, something like that. So I think, routine is one of the most important things to establish as a new remote worker.
Great, thank you. And with the last thing you said, how do you think it's going to be like a super good idea, instead of getting out and hanging out with friends due to the current situation, just to refresh your memory, because I think when you spend too much time inside your house, you feel like trapped, right? And you do want to get out, but since this current situation, it's kind of complicated. So what do you think, or what can you like switch as an option instead of doing that?
Yeah, so it's not easy right now, obviously. I don't also know the I guess the nature of the restrictions in El Salvador, but I would say, for example, maybe you can just go for a run. Maybe you have a dog, for example, you can take your dog for a walk. If you're not able to currently meet people or to be in large groups with people, just try and do something that allows you to leave the house. Again, I actually don't even know if you're allowed to leave the house right now in El Salvador. But if you're allowed to, I don't know, go for a short walk or something like that, because it's less to do with, I guess, how big the thing is. Like, I need to go see 10 people. It's less to do with that and more about just getting you out of the chair at your desk, out of the house for even 10 minutes. And at least then when you come back into the house, if it's only been 10 minutes, you still have had that break to the end of your workday, and now it's your personal time.
Awesome, thank you. Well, going further with that, do you think that if they learn like a new language, of course English and everything, is there like a huge possibility for a Latin American person or Hispanic person that can apply to any job either in the UK or Europe in general?
100%. I think that Latin America has an amazing position in a lot of ways to make to take advantage of remote work, whether that be as a virtual assistant or something specific. Even just the basics of time zone, right? With the US, perfect time zone. Even with Europe, not bad, right? UK, 3 p.m. UK time is 9 a.m. El Salvador time. So really not bad at all. And I think as well that it's, you're your own boss at that point, right? You set your own schedule. I think also as well, a lot of the companies that are open to this, that are comfortable doing this, tend to be more, I guess, innovative companies, tend to be doing more interesting things. So yeah, you have opportunities to work in, I think, a lot of the time, very, very interesting companies, technology companies, things like that. I really do think that it's a fantastic opportunity and something that's not out of reach for people, if maybe people feel that way.
Mm-hmm. And do you think they must need a degree just to apply for virtual assistant jobs or anything, or they can go for it?
Not at all. I honestly really don't put much value on degrees. I'm an employer, right? I've worked with people in your part of the world. Right now, I have a company of 6 people, people in India, people in Vietnam, people in the UK, all over the place. I don't think I've looked at any one of them to see if they've had a university education. I think most of them have, but I don't know. Really, to me, it's usually mindset, and if people are fast at learning things, that's the most important thing. I've met some really, really lazy, really not particularly impressive people from very, very fancy universities in the UK, and also the opposite. Absolutely.
And for the last one, Rhys, which places, or if you know like the best places, or where exactly can a person from Latin America that do manage to speak in English, which places do you recommend that it's the best for them, like to apply to those type of jobs, like to get a whole of opportunities?
So the obvious ones are some of the big marketplaces like Upwork, Fiverr, is it? There's one more. I forget the other one's name. Freelancer or Elancer, something like that. There's another one called TopTal, which is more consulting work if people want to sell their services as a consultant. So yeah, those would be for project work, sometimes ongoing work too. Maybe if you're a graphic designer, for example, it could be something like that. I would say, if possible though, try and find business outside of those platforms. Those platforms are very good in some ways. They give security for payment, for example, but competition is very, very high. You are directly next to your competition. There's your picture, and then there's someone else's picture, and someone else's picture, and someone else's picture. So it's very, very price sensitive, which is not good for people. It's not very easy for you to show how you're different to the other person. So all of a sudden, it just becomes about price. Now, maybe you want to start on a platform like Upwork or something like that. But what I would advise is, over time, try and establish yourself outside of one of those platforms. That could be as simple as actually just using Facebook groups or other types of groups where competition is not quite as high. There are lots and lots of Facebook groups where people are looking for, as I say, particular things like graphic design or web design or translation and things like that, or more general virtual assistant work. So if you keep in these groups, then you can find good work there. And then I would say the best thing, the absolute best thing, would be for you to actually have your own website, do your own marketing. So then you're not in competition with anyone, right? It's your website and that's it. I know that for a lot of people that would be probably quite a lot of work, but you can build up to that over time. As I say, maybe you start off on Upwork or something, get some experience, start working with some clients, get some testimonials from them, and then potentially also start using Facebook groups, other places, and over time you might be able to, almost become like a solo business.
Sure. Well, thank you, Rhys, for your advice. Really, it means a lot. I know it's a lot of information, indeed, but it's highly appreciated.
Bueno, chicos, espero les haya gustado la entrevista y que hayan encontrado todo el contenido muy, muy, muy productivo e interesante. Si tienen preguntas extra que quisieran hacer, pues se lo comenten abajo y yo con gusto genero una segunda entrevista para ustedes en exclusiva. Así que gracias por su atención y nos vemos la próxima.